like to welcome back Immuron Limited, which trades on the NASDAQ under the symbol IMRN. Immuron is commercializing and developing a novel class of specifically targeted polyclonal antibodies that can address significant unmet medical needs. Happy to welcome back CEO Steve Lydeamore. Nice to see you again, Steve.
Yes, thank you, and good afternoon.
All right, we want to give you some time to give us an update and then call me back when you're ready for some questions.
Okay, let's get into it. So welcome everybody. Just click through the safe harbor statement. Our annual results will be released probably tomorrow, so out very soon, but until then, subject to audit review. Look, quick update for those that aren't familiar. We're a biotech company that develops oral treatments for gut-mediated diseases, and we have a product on the market, Travelan, that we sell for prevention of travelers' diarrhea, and we have a number of therapeutics in clinical phases. So we have IMM124E, which is the active drug substance in Travelan, and that's completed phase 2 that read out top-line results in March of this year, and draft of the clinical study report is being circulated at the moment. We're hoping somewhere around the end of this month we'll have a clinical study report to submit to the FDA, and importantly we'll be requesting an end of phase 2 meeting with a view to going into phase 3, and I have some more slides on that later. Our second therapeutic is CAMP-ETEC, and phase 2 completed dosing of that. It's had adjudication, and I was expecting top-line results maybe a week or so ago, but they're imminent. So somewhere around the end of this month, we should have phase 2 results, top-line results for that trial. So that's quite exciting as well. And the third therapeutic is IMM529. We had a submitted pre-IND with the FDA and had a meeting with them. Very clear instructions. So we're working busily on preparing an IND that we plan to submit in the first half of next calendar year with a view to starting another phase 2 trial in IMM529. And I'll talk a little bit more about that as well. With regard to Travelan sales, we just closed out the financial year. Our financial year ends in June with record sales in both Australia and US and globally. Sales up 172%, just shy of $5 million in revenue. So quite an outstanding year for us. The financial snapshot, you can see there, we had cash at the end of June of Australian dollars, $11.7 million, and our market cap in Australia is about 24 million, and in the US around 15 million. So that's a quick snapshot of the company. There are those sales there. You can see we've rebounded strongly after hitting a low during the pandemic. And what's pleasing is not only is the growth rate significant, it's been increasing in each year since we hit that bottom in the pandemic in FY21. So that's quite exciting. Most of that growth has been coming from Australia, but as I mentioned, USA hit a record year last year, and this year we're hoping Canada might do the same. So let's just quickly have a look at what we're doing there. So in North America, we launched last year in Amazon.com and Walmart.com, and we're increasingly penetrating that market. But in Canada, a market very similar to Australia, albeit the population being slightly higher, it's focused on retail pharmacy. And in Canada, we've got listings now in Shoppers Drug Mart, which is the largest pharmacy chain, as well as Pharmaprix, Lawtons, Loblaws, Rexall, Sobeys, a number of them. So we've got good distribution. Now we get together doing our work to make sure that there's sellout. And so if we can do that, should be looking towards a significant growth in the North American market, both US and Canada. So that's great. This is, as I mentioned last time, a $1 billion market. At the moment, people mostly treat themselves with the products that you take after you get diarrhea, and who wants that? And there's an opportunity to take Travelan, which prevents you from getting it. So for any of you going on a holiday somewhere to Mexico or the Caribbean, or as in Australia, it's Bali typically, take your Travelan a couple of days before you go and while you're there with each meal, and you can protect yourselves from getting travelers' diarrhea. I'm going to skip through these slides because we're only got a short presentation today. They're in the deck, which is published, will be published on the ASX and also SEC via EDGAR. Wanted to get through to this update here. So this is an update on those clinical programs. I've mentioned them in passing, but one that I didn't mention was the Uniformed Services University. So this is a very large study being conducted in active US and UK military personnel travelling on deployment to high-risk regions. They're now 85% recruited of participant numbers 866. So that's a large trial. It's a real-world trial, and it will give us a very good idea as to the likelihood of success in phase 3 for Travelan, that's IMM124E. So we're anticipating top-line results for that trial in April 2025. And CAMPTech, a number of shareholders and perhaps potential investors are looking forward to that top-line data. And as I mentioned before, we've completed adjudication back on the 23rd of August. Was expecting the top-line data about a week ago, but somewhere around the end of this month. So whether it's the end of September or early October, we'll have those top-line results out, and we're quite excited for the release of those. This is IMM529, successful pre-IND filing with the FDA in July of this year. We had that meeting, we got clear advice. We're moving ahead with the IND filing. Just to note down the bottom there, the efficacy of this in the animal studies. Not only did we show statistically significant prevention of primary disease, we showed protection of recurrence and also treatment of primary disease. And so this is great. So it's got 3 different things that it can do to help those poor people that get Clostridioides difficile. And this is off the back of a product which has a triple mechanism of action. So that is that it not only stops toxin B, which causes Clostridioides difficile, but also spores and vegetative cells. So a world first triple mechanism of action for CDI. So we're really looking forward to that one. And I mentioned IMM124E phase 2 completed in March. We were waiting for that clinical study report to have the end of phase 2 meeting with the FDA and moving forward into phase 3. This is a summary. I won't read through this, but essentially we showed good protective efficacy and 43.8% reduction in diarrhea of any severity, which was approaching statistical significance. And we did show statistically significant lower than the placebo group in the cumulative number of adverse events. So good results for that trial, which bodes well for moving into phase 3. And this is our phase 3 strategy. We're looking at starting phase 3 in the second half of next calendar year. Each trial will take roughly 2 years, and following that, the BLA submissions. We're talking about a product being approved by the US FDA as a prescription product around 27, 28. So that's an exciting time forward for that. Scientific references are here for your future reading. I'll just go to my closing slide. This is my contact information, email address and phone number. Please feel free to reach out if you have any particular questions. And Anna, I'll hand back to you to allow time for questions. Thank you.
Great job, Steve. Okay. So first of all, there's a congratulations. Mercedes says congratulations on the record sales from a happy shareholder. So you have that. We have another question. I'm going to try to ask this as best I can. Should the product be commercialized, and how would IMC derive commercial value? Does that make sense?
It does. So IMM124E is the active drug substance that we're trialling. Just completed phase 2, planning to go into phase 3. We're doing that with the US Department of Defense funding, and they want it to be an FDA-approved product. But in the meantime, we're already commercializing it. So we are selling Travelan over the counter as a dietary supplement in the US, unfortunately without label claims. In Australia and Canada, we do have label claims, and that's perhaps why we have stronger growth in Australia, but we are commercializing already. And the other therapeutics, we will commercialize them, but we can't do that until they're approved, and that's sometime down the track.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Steve, for that update. We appreciate it. We are out of time, but this pretty much answered all of the questions, and we look forward to having you on again in the near future.
Very good. Once again, if you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. All right, thanks. We'll be right back, everyone.